Hi, everyone. Welcome again to my channel. We can do this. I hope you're all having a great week. I'm pretty pumped today. I've had the week off. I had a great week. I hope you all did too. Even though I know it's been a really tough week for a lot of people as well. But I know personally I needed this time to get some R&R in, and I did. Uh, Saw some people I don't see very often. Um, Eaten some great food, and I hope you all had some of the same that I did. And I'm pretty pumped today, going out with some friends tonight after my live stream. Don't go out very often, but I'm kind of excited. Yeah, I don't get out very often, but we're going to do it. So that being said, as you saw from the title today, what I'm going to be talking about today is, can you achieve a work-life balance? Think about that. I bet you the first thing you think about is, how can I do that? Life is so full of stress and it's busy and people are nuts right now. Everybody's crazy. How in the world could there be a work-life balance? It's a challenging thought. I hear you. I know. I've been on a journey for many years, and it has been difficult. Many points in that journey. But I have come to find and realize that it is possible. And you're going to have crazy days and you're going to have stressful days. But you've got to look at the long haul. Look at the long term. And you've got to be willing to make changes and do something different. If something's not working, you fix it. And I'm going to start talking today about something that is near and dear to our hearts. I cannot say the word per YouTube. However, I am sure you will all know what I'm talking about when I am going to call it we'll call it the Big P. For 3 years, all of us had to go through the Big P, and our lives were turned upside down, and we experienced something that none of us had ever experienced in our lives before. We were wearing masks. We had to start working from home. A lot of us, those that were in the workplace, had to do different things to make sure they stayed safe. And it was a challenge that none of us ever saw before. I was one of the ones where I did 3 days at home, and I was in the office for 2 days during these 3 years. And I saw a whole different side of life I had never seen before. And that makes sense because we had never been through anything like that before. And I can tell you that I found, I am hourly, I found that even though I was working 11 to 14-hour days, I was happy. I was exhausted, but I always found it really gratifying. Being home, I was able to actually take 2 15-minute breaks a day, which is really tough to do when you're in the office because of interruptions and, distractions. But I found that on those 2 15-minute breaks that I could take now, I could actually put laundry in the dryer or throw it in the washer. I could do dishes real quick. I could go out and I could grab something to eat easily. I had access to a stove, and I could eat while I continued to work. I'm not good at taking lunches, but I was able to do my breaks, which was hard to do before. And I found that pretty awesome. And I really enjoyed that. And being in the office the other 2 days of the week, I was still able to be efficient and get my job done. In fact, I found I was more efficient working from home because I didn't have all the distraction. I still had all the meetings, but I didn't have all the chatter, and some of the more negative things that are in the office. But I was happy. And even though I was working the long hours, it didn't matter because I had a balance there and I could get a little more of it while I was at home. Now, that being said, I have now been made to go back to the office 5 days a week, as I know many of us have. And I found that disheartening in the beginning. I wasn't really happy about that. And I'm still not, but not to a point where I'm miserable. I'm in the office now 5 days a week, and I'm still being efficient, but I'm not working the many hours that I was. I think the most hours I've worked is 10-hour days, and I'm only working maybe 4 hours a week, 4 to 5 hours a week at the most overtime. So it's not bad, Once again, we'll do this. It's a balance, it's a balance. So that being said, I'm going to give you 2 examples from my professional life. One from my previous position I had at my previous company that I was at for many, many years. That was a very unsatisfying and very rough and miserable experience versus my current situation that is absolutely gratifying and amazing. And you will see that work-life balance is very different in the 2 scenarios. So the first situation I was in, I was a buyer for a company for many, several years. And I loved what I did. To this day, I love what I do. I've been a buyer almost 30 years now. I love what I do. I wouldn't do anything else. And like I said, I've worked for 3 different industries. And some industries are more challenging than others. But this industry was not exactly challenging in the sense I go by the 80-20 rule. 80% of the items that I purchased, or even more than that, were off the shelf. Versus the position I'm in now as a buyer, where the majority, 80% or more of my items, are custom items. Very, very different worlds. But I loved both jobs. My problem was the management, my personal manager, and one of my coworkers. They were people that I was around daily, all the time, worked closely with physically, where they were very unhappy people in their personal lives. I can't answer for their professional life. They had very unhappy lives outside of the work environment. And the manager that I worked for at that time had a very unhappy home life from the time she was young. And she was miserable. She was very materials loving. Material things meant everything to her because anything personal she was very unhappy. And I've had several people tell me, I couldn't see it because I find it laughable, but several people have told me that they saw how jealous she was of me. And see, right now, I just want to laugh. I find that so funny because I am a very humble person. If I do or say anything to hurt anybody or I do something wrong, I'm the first one to go, yo, here, where do I got to apologize? Who do I got to apologize to? What did I do? What do I need to fix? Here I am. So they took advantage of that, and they took advantage of my very caring nature. Personally, I am a very caring person. In fact, at that position, I was told many times, "You're just too caring, and that's your problem." Well, I'm sorry, but if I'm too caring, I am not nice for it. I think that's a trait to have. But unfortunately, when other people see that trait in you, they decide to ride with it and take advantage of it, and they make you a target of their unhappiness. And I didn't have a real self-esteem. I never really have, but I grew up a very happy person, very happy childhood. And I can honestly say they took their unhappiness out on me. They took it out big time on me. And what you have to also realize is I started there as salary. But the last handful of years I was at this company, I was made to do hourly because of a change in laws. Now, I believe it was a change in a federal law. I don't believe it was a state law. But there were many of us who had been salary, and we had to change, and we had to go to be hourly. I'd never done a time clock in my life, so it was something new for me. But when I was salary, if I had to work overtime, wasn't a problem. I could work whatever I needed to do to get the job done, and then I'd go home. And in the beginning, I did a lot of long hours there. And my manager kept putting more and more tasks on me. And while my coworker would sit there all day doing personal things for her kids and herself, or cut coupons, or do whatever she felt like doing, or go on the phone with whatever personal call she needed to do during the day, every day, my manager would let this happen. And when I became hourly, she kept piling work on me, but I was no longer permitted to work overtime. And if I did happen to work overtime one time or two times, I learned very quickly that was not permitted and it was not to happen. I was never allowed any overtime, no matter what my workload was. I was degraded. I was talked down to. My self-esteem went south very quickly. My mental health went south. And there was nothing I could do to stop it in that situation. It was like being on a freight train. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and it was a train. And I felt like I had a great job. I had several weeks of vacation that I'd earned over the years, but the environment became absolutely toxic. It was bad before the new management came in, and once they were in, it became unbearable and then a total nightmare. I got to the point that my mental health had deteriorated so badly. And once again, if you have triggers, I would please ask you to shut this off right now and do not watch from here on, because I may say things that could trigger you about my mental health. So please, if you have triggers, please turn this off now and do not watch any further. Also, if you are there's not going to be any harassment that will be tolerated in the chat or online. I am telling you my life experience, and it's been very difficult, and I'm about to get to that point. My mental state had degraded to the point so horribly and so low, I had decided to unlive myself. And today that's very hard for me to admit and say, because I never dreamed in a million years I would be at that point. And I would never be at that point again. Who are unhappy in their own lives, were jealous of me, and decided to use me as their target practice. And I will not allow that to happen again. When I got to that point, I had already been trying to find another position for 3 years. There was no work-life balance for me. Work had become my enemy, but I needed a paycheck. I had no life outside of there. I couldn't shut it off. I brought it home with me. I couldn't sleep. I cried all the time. It was the most horrible time of my life. My marriage had ended several years before that, so I didn't enjoy holidays, but I was trying. I was getting better with that. But at this point, this is where I can honestly say God had different plans for me. And you can obviously see that because I'm sitting here talking to you now, and you see I'm smiling because the best thing in the world to me at that point in my life. It was timing. The job I have now came up, and I went for an interview. And when I saw it was in the medical industry, that was even more exciting for me because being a volunteer EMT, I had done that at my old company, was shown no appreciation from my manager or the upper management. There was never appreciation, never a thank you from them. But I will say this. The managers who worked out on the floor and in other departments there were very appreciative of what I did for their employees. And I thank them to this day. Those moments were very gratifying for me, and I appreciate it very much. I went for my interview to the new company, and I found my answer. The second I walked in the door, I knew. The place was clean. The people were very friendly. The plant manager and my manager at the time were amazing human beings. They were kind. They were appreciative. They listened. And I was in love with the job, the description. I was in love with the facility. I just knew that's what I wanted to do. Monday, I had an interview. Wednesday, 2 days later, I got the job offer, and I was all over it like a bad rash. I was there. And I put in my notice at my old company. But when I did that, you want to talk about a nightmare getting even worse than you could ever imagine. I was subjected to some of the most low, disgusting, I can't even put it into words how horrible they made my life. I can't even remember how many days I lasted into my notice. I want to say I was there maybe for 4 days. And I just called HR in the morning one morning. I just called crying and I said, I'm not coming back. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't deserve to be treated this way anymore. And I was done. It was over. I can't explain to you how everything was off my shoulders at that point. Everything. The timing was right. I felt like I had a chance. I could start over. And I was hopeful and excited and smiling again for the first time in my life. So that's the bad and the ugly. But now I'm going to talk about the good, where I am now. It is now handful of years later. I love my job. The industry I'm in is tough. And you got to have a thick skin. That doesn't mean, and I do have a thick skin, thicker than what I think people realize because I care so much. I do have a thick skin. When you're an EMT and a firefighter, you have to get one really quick. You learn to turn it off when you need to, but that doesn't mean you aren't human. This work environment is tough, but I have the best team in the world that I work with. I have great friends now. Even the years during the Big P, when I was working 11 to 14 hours, we all stuck together. We stuck it out. We took one day at a time and we did it. It's like my channel says, we can do this. We got this, and we did. And we're still here, and we're still fighting to help people around the world. You know, I love the idea of that. And I have had a time where maybe the work-life balance wasn't where I wanted it to be, but it got better. And it is better. I got through those times because I knew I wasn't alone. And I have been so fortunate. I've had two of the most amazing managers. They have been kind and caring and supportive and have had my back. And to know for the first time in my life, I have been that blessed to finally find what I've always wanted and what I was always looking for. And I do have a great work-life balance now. I don't mind doing a couple hours overtime. You know, I'm getting compensated for it. And I love what I do. I love where I do it. I'm happy. I have a great home life. I have great friends. And like I said, please don't misunderstand me because I do still have where it's tough. It takes a lot more to get me there now. And I am so happy now. I'm taking care of myself, both physically and mentally. And I have come so far since I changed my job. I got that work-life balance. Now, I don't know what your circumstances are. I truly don't. And I don't wish what's happened to me to happen to anybody else. And I sincerely hope it's not happening to you now. But if it is, my advice to you, it can stop fighting. Never stop fighting. Your happiness and taking care of yourself is what you want, and it's what you deserve. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to have that balance where you're taking care of your family, you enjoy the job. Those people you're around for hours every day, 5 days a week or more. But don't be afraid of change. I was at that first job for a very long time, and I let it get a part of me that it shouldn't have. And it was because of those who are unhappy, miserable people, and they wanted to bring me down to their level. And they did for a lot of years. And I lost those years, and I'm making up for it now. And I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm going to keep fighting, and that's why I'm here. I want you to do the same thing. You can do this. We can do this. That's why I'm doing these live streams now. I want to make a difference. If I can make a difference even in one person's life that watches any of my videos, that will mean everything to me, and that will accomplish what I want to do. And I am going to be hopefully trying some different things. I have a microphone, but for some reason today, it's just not having a happy day with me. So I'm working on that. So hopefully sooner or later you will see a microphone in front of me. And also, I'm going to maybe be trying a couple different things. I got to get my viewership up though. So I know that I don't have anybody on here right now watching, which is fine. But if you go in and watch the replay, I would definitely appreciate it. And please, please, please remember to subscribe at the bottom of the screen. And please click that like button. It'll help get my algorithm up so that I can keep doing these live streams and hopefully help you else. And that's what I'm here to do. And I'm hoping that I put a smile on your face, some hope in your heart. And the one thing I want to finish with today is now you can see that there is a possibility of a work-life balance. And we're going into a new year. And I have to be honest, New Year's Eve is not one of my happier holidays. And it's because my first thought now, after being in reality for many, many years is, okay, I got another year of taxes. I got another year of cleaning. I got another year of this, that, and the other thing. But what I have to remember is that I have another year. I have another year to clean. I have another year to be happy. I have another year to hopefully make a difference. That kind of makes me feel better. So my wishes for everyone for the new year, 2024. I wish all of you total happiness, totally amazing things to happen in your life, and take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Take care of yourself, both mentally and physically. Don't let anybody drag you down. They're not worth it. You're worth it. And you deserve it. Take some time for yourself. Get that balance in your life. And I guarantee you will be happier, healthier, and those around you will notice a change in your life for the better. Take care of yourselves. Have a great new year. And know that I'm going to continue to do my live streams every Saturday and Sunday, every weekend, Saturday or Sunday, every weekend. I am usually going to be doing this at 4:00. Next Saturday, however, I'm going to tell everybody it is my birthday next Saturday. So I have a hot date with some of my friends. We are going to be going out for a great Mexican meal. I cannot wait. I love a good enchilada or a taco. I'm really excited about it. But so that time next week, it will be at probably around 1 or 2 o'clock. I haven't decided yet, but please be looking for that. So until next time, next weekend, take care, stay safe, and remember that we can do this. We got this together. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.